Welcome to tonight's two-part series. It wasn't supposed to be a two-part, but it's a two-part series on anger and self-control. Monday we started off talking about anger, and we talked about the emotional, what I call the emotional prison almost of anger if you allow it to control you. And so tonight I want to take that further. Still the same, but let's start. Okay. I don't know what it is then. But tonight I want to take it further, and I want to, how to respond to your anger. So look, so in the previous video, I told you that there's nothing wrong with being angry, right? The problem comes when we allow our anger to control us. When we allow anger to drive our behavior, that's when we get in trouble. All right. As a matter of fact, when we allow any emotion to dictate, the key word is dictate. When we allow any emotion to dictate how we do life, we will not enjoy life to the fullest. All right. At times, we may suffer because we allow our emotions, to have too much control over us. Your emotions are not supposed to have control over you. You're supposed to master them. Now, that's not to say that emotion should be suppressed or ignored, right? That is one of the problems. That's probably the root cause of the anger that you outwardly show in the first place. Boys are typically raised to push their anger, their emotions really to the side. And then when they become adults, it's difficult to do intimate relationships because of their emotional immaturity. The solution to allowing your emotions, and anger specifically, the solution to not allowing that to control you is to first understand that anger is a sign. I told you guys that on Monday. Anger it's a sign. Emotions are a sign. You need to be able to correctly interpret the sign instead of just reacting to the sign. Okay, you need to be effective at interpreting the sign instead of just reacting to the sign. Anger is triggered by the belief that you've been treated unfairly or wronged. Okay? Now, sometimes your anger is triggered and it's accurate, meaning you did get treated unfairly or you did get done wrong. All right? But oftentimes when anger is triggered, it's not accurate. But whether the feeling is accurate or not, there's a way to respond to your anger that does not damage or destroy your relationships, but instead makes them stronger. Remember, your goal in your life should be self-mastery. Don't spend a whole lot of time trying to control other people. Don't spend a whole lot of time trying to control other people in your life so that they will so that they'll do what you want and you'll feel a certain way. Okay. Instead, control your own life so that things outside of you do not control what's going on the inside of you. Control what's going on the inside of you so things on the outside of you cannot control you. Does that make sense? Right? You will always be your biggest obstacle. Don't forget that. You will always be your biggest obstacle. I heard somebody say, if you can overcome the enemy within, nothing on the outside of you can do you any harm. I tell people almost every day in my office, your marriage is not sideways because of what happens in your marriage. No, your marriage is sideways because of how you respond to what happens in your marriage. Right? And I want to really drive home the point that you must master you. You must master you. So tonight, I want to talk about how to respond to your anger. How to respond to your anger. Now, first of all, remember you are a lover. Now, I know you may have never thought of yourself as a lover, except Rick. You probably think he's a lover. All of us are lovers, right? You may have never thought of yourself as a lover, but all of us, all humans are lovers, meaning that is what we do. Loving is what we do. The fact that you are a lover, though, is not enough. You have to be committed to being a great lover. Yeah. You want to be committed to being a great lover. Now, I'm not talking about sex. Although, if you're married, uh, it's good to be great at sex as well, right? But that's not. I'm not going down that street tonight. Okay, I'm not going down that street. Um, but I'm gonna just pass by the neighborhood sign real quick. Okay, I'm not gonna go down the street, but I'm gonna just pass by the neighborhood sign real quick. Fellas, listen. Since it's men here, women are not like us when it comes to sex. You know how sometimes we think when we know something, we think a lot of times that it's universal knowledge. I am a therapist, but I fall into that category too. Sometimes I am shocked that people don't know what they don't know, and I'm more than sure. Sometimes even my clients are shocked when they tell me something that I don't know. I'm not afraid to say, "Oh no, I don't." Tell me what is that? I've never heard of that. And it may be something basic to him, but the point is, I'm shocked sometimes the men who come in my office who don't know the difference between men and women when it comes to their sex drive, right? See, for us men, all we need is the wind to blow, and we're ready, right? You can be at the grocery store and see a piece of fruit that's shaped like a female body part, and your little buddy's like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, um, women not so much. Okay, women are not that way. Women, see, we men, we're stimulated by what we see, even if what we see is just in our head. Like it don't even have to be real. But women, your wife is stimulated by what she feels, right? That is why you'll be more successful texting her throughout the day and then taking her on a date and having a happy ending at night than playing your game all night and then coming to bed at 11 trying to be with your wife. Okay, I'm off of that. So I'll save that for the in-person men's group that we're going to do. So now, being a great lover is not about sex, okay? Being a great lover, pay attention, is about giving your best when they are at their worst. I'm going to say that again. Being a great lover is about giving your best when they are at their worst. See, I tell people all the time, love does its greatest work in difficulty. In those moments when your wife is getting on your reserve nerve, right? You know what the reserve nerve is, right? It's the last little nerve that you had reserved just for you, and she finds a way to get on that one. When she gets on your reserve nerve, that's when great lovers shine. Giving your all, not meeting aggression with aggression, particularly when it's your wife or your loved one, not cursing them out like they may deserve, is not a sign of weakness. Fellas, you don't always have to quote unquote get with someone, right? Now, can I use Jesus for a second? Okay, I know everybody on here is not Christian, but let me use Jesus for a second. You've never met a man stronger than Jesus. See, Jesus was not a wimp. How do you know? Because you don't crucify wimps. You just run them out of town. They couldn't run him out of town, right? Because he wasn't a wimp. But beyond that, imagine, use your imagination. Imagine you were arrested for something you were falsely accused of. They got you in Huntsville, and you're on trial for murder. You didn't do it, but you're on trial for murder. And in your life, all you did was try to help people. But they found some false witnesses to lie on you so they could kill you. The judge finds you guilty and sentences you to death. The whole time, everybody in court, including the judge and the bailiff, are making fun of you saying, "Hey, you said you was the son of God. Why don't you free yourself? You tell them, if I wanted to, I can call a legion of angels right now. But you don't do that. And then to take it further, you allow them to actually put you on a cross, put nails in your hands and your feet. And y'all know the rest of the story, but if that were me, do you know what kind of strength it takes to restrain the power that you have? And when it's your right, because you don't want to harm people or hurt people, that takes real strength, right? And then I heard somebody say, well, I'm not Jesus. Right. But that's not something I would be like waving as a banner, because that statement may be the reason why your marriage looks the way it does. Because you want to be your version of tough, which is really weakness, right? Commit yourself to being a great lover, okay? That's what we're talking about. Commit yourself to being a great lover. When you are angry, the first thing that you want to do is slow down your thinking process. Is my anger lying to me? Right? When you slow down your process so you can try to figure, you're trying to decipher what the sign means. This will determine what you say. So your love for them determines how you respond, but assessing what the anger means will determine what you say and do when you respond in love, right? So if you determine that the anger is not accurate, then you just calm yourself and you let it go. Now I know I'm oversimplifying it for a purpose, right? It's not a class, so I'm trying to pack it in and give it to you. But hopefully at the end, if there's something you don't understand, or there are more questions, then just ask at the end. But you calm yourself and you let it go. But if you determine that the anger that you feel is accurate, then you confront them in love. See, being a great lover doesn't mean you let people run over you. It doesn't mean that, right? Going back to the greatest lover of all time, Jesus did not let people run over him. But in responding to them, he was never disrespectful. Be angry, but also be in control. When we finish, you guys can ask me whatever questions you have on how to respond to a specific, like situation, since I can't think of every situation to put in my talk. But overall, your goal is to speak the truth in love. Please don't miss speaking the truth in love. Truth without love is like surgery without anesthesia, right? It may be needed, but it's extremely painful. And what does speaking the truth in love really mean? Well, remember, love is not about you. Love is about the person you are loving. So when you speak the truth in love, you are sharing the truth in a way that will help them be better. Help them treat their husband or friend or son or nephew better. The thing that you have to remember is that all of us do what we know how to do. When your spouse comes at you sideways, it's because it's what she knows how to do. It's what she's learned. It's what she's learned how to address her issues. You may think that it's about you, but it's not. And that's the first thing that you have to remember once you determine whether or not your anger is accurate. Once you determine it's anger, remember, it's not about you. When you believe that what you are getting from her is not about you, then you can deal with her differently and more loving. Now, it's life. Sometimes you will get treated unfairly. But that is an opportunity to show love. However, you will not be able to have a loving response if you are not in control of you. Okay? If you're not in control of you, you won't be able to have a loving response. If you do not have self-control, and here's the thing about self-control. You can't apply self-control in some areas and then not in other areas and expect yourself to be successful at it, right? You can't do that. Self-control, self-discipline is not something that you can walk in when you feel like it and then not walking it in others, right? You won't be disciplined enough to not allow your anger to take over if you're not disciplined enough to not eat the whole pint of ice cream. How are those two connected? Self-discipline, right? When you're undisciplined in small areas, when you lack self-control in small areas, you will not be able to just turn it on in the midst of conflict. That is why I talk about self-mastery. Not simply relational mastery, but self-mastery. Who you are as a person must change. Your whole person has to change, not just a few of your behaviors. Okay? When you're having a conflict with your partner, you have to remember that's your partner. It's not your neighbor's partner. It's yours. That's your wife. So if you just let loose on them, you are injuring the person that's a part of the same marriage as you. You're hurting your marriage, right? You may be angry right now, but you got to remember you love them. Don't allow your feelings in the moment cause you to do something negative that the marriage has to carry beyond the moment. Don't do something, don't let your feelings in the moment make you do something negative that the marriage has to carry beyond the moment. Okay? Now let's talk about some of the things that hinder us from responding in love. And so let me just say this. Because I want to make sure, I don't want you thinking that I kind of like just missed it. So I want to drive it home again. The way to respond to anger is in love. And that's it. When you talk about specific behaviors, you got to give me specific, like situations. But in general, that's why I spent that whole section just talking about love, responding in love. So responding in love, self-mastery, identifying the signs and interpreting them correctly. That's it. We can get into the details of how, like when this happens, how does that love look? Well, then that's when we get to the specifics. But in general, you got to walk in love. So now, let's talk about things that hinder us men from responding in love. Number one at the top of my list. Now, this is just the top of my list. I'm not saying it's, the universal list. This is what I came up with. And this is not an exhaustive list, right? But at the top of my list is alcohol. I've had so many men who are allowing alcohol to destroy their relationships and marriage. And I'm not talking about the men who have identified themselves as alcoholic. That's not what I'm saying. They at least know they have a problem. I'm really talking about the men who may not drink much, but you still get out of control when you do. If you can't handle your liquor, if you get crazy when you drink, don't drink because it's going to cost you too much. If you have a drinking problem, be honest about it and get help. But I like drinking. Okay, well, I like a whole lot of stuff. Well, I like sex, but me having it with someone other than my wife is going to invite destruction, right? You can like whatever you want, but be wise enough to know when something is going to harm you, right? So check your drinking and don't try to have discussions when one or both of you have been drinking. Again, one of my surprises, people come in my office, we had this major fight and he said this, but then I said that and then he said this, and I'm trying to work it out. And then they say, and we was drinking, we both was drunk. This only happened when we drink. And I'm like, stop drinking. Stop drinking. But Be careful with alcohol or any other kind of substance. I just say alcohol because that's what I see most, but any kind of substance, any kind of altering whatever, that can affect, delay, hinder your ability to respond in love. Okay, be mindful of that. If you don't want to admit that you got a drinking problem, fine. I don't have an issue with that. Just say, I don't have a problem, but me doing this is harming my family. So even though I like it, because I'm a lover and I'm moving towards being a great lover, I'm not going to do that no more. Okay, here's number 2. This will hinder you. The belief that you need to teach somebody a lesson. This belief will prevent you from speaking the truth in love. All right. And the thing is, a lot of what you learned about, teaching someone a lesson, you learned it from your parents when you were raised. It was harmful when they did it to you, but now you're doing it to her. If you need to teach someone a lesson when you're angry, actually, I don't have a problem with that. Okay. If you want to teach your wife a lesson when you're angry, that's good. Teach her how to love. Right? Master loving the unlovable. Let's do that. Master loving the unlovable. Here's the third one. Unresolved childhood trauma. I really should say unresolved childhood issues, because not everything that happens in childhood is trauma, but you still can develop negative beliefs that show up in your adulthood and you're still living by that, right? If you don't deal with that stuff or allow God to deal with it, it's going to be difficult for you to respond in love when anger shows up and says, hey, she disrespecting you. She don't even love you. And she going to do it again tomorrow. When a childhood belief is triggered, you will act childish, not loving. Okay? When a childhood belief is triggered, you will act childish. Which by the way, that's the reason. I didn't share this previously, but remember when we started, I shared what was it? 1 Corinthians 13, right? That's why loving is a mature thing to do, right? So when you read Corinthians, it talks about love is patient, love is kind, and then he kind of changes the subject from love to development, and this is what I read for you guys. When I was a child, I spoke, thought, reasoned like a child. I became a man and put away childish things, right? And then on the back end, he comes back and talks about love again. He said, now these 3 abide. And this faith, hope, and love, the greatest of these is love. I tell people in my office all the time, children don't love, actually. Now, I know some people don't believe me when I say that, but children are not informed enough to love. Their role in life, at least up to age and I'm guessing on this, I haven't done research, right? So I'm open to correction. But up until age 12, 13, their main role is receiving. So when you men are trying to get love from your children, I say that because I see it. When you're trying to get love from your children, you are going to injure them. That's not their role. Love flows one way, from you to them. As they get older and they learn about life and love, whatever, then they can give it back. But talking about what Corinthians is talking about, and that's not an exhaustive list of love either, children are not going to be able to do that. They are by nature self-centered. They're not going to do that, right? But when you become a man, when you become an emotional adult, that should not be your reality, right? You should be able to love in difficult seasons. And that's what I'm trying to encourage you to do. So if you don't deal with your childhood triggers, when they are pushed, you will not respond in love. You're going to respond childish. And the thing about that is, so some triggers, I don't believe that we'll fix everything on this side of the Jordan, as church folks say, or, this side of the, whatever you want to put something there. We're not going to fix everything on this side. So some triggers you will deal with. Some triggers you won't get over, but you still can. So the trigger may work. You just put blanks in the gun. You don't. So now it's not bullets that kill, it's blanks, and you speak love when the blank is fired. I know that's a crazy analogy, but the point is, you have to become a great lover, and you have to work at loving when it's difficult. You don't need love to go to Vegas. You don't need love to go to the park. You don't need love to hold your wife's hand and, y'all at the movies. You need love when she gets on your last nerve. You need love when she does things that you don't like. That's when love has to show up. That's when love does its greatest work. My analogy of the firefighter, so I'm not going to give that to you again. Another thing that will hinder you when responding to love is fear. Yeah. Fear is the separator of men. And fear has a younger evil twin named pride. Yeah. Fear and pride, they work together. How many of y'all used to watch wrestling back in the day? Right? I'm a little older. How many of y'all used to watch wrestling? Right? I'm talking before SmackDown and all that. Right? Like when Junkyard Dog and Missing Link and Kamala the Ugandan Giant, Kamala the Ugandan Giant, that kind of wrestling, right? And of course, I gotta mention Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Pretty Boy Ric Flair, right? Back then, and so they had back then. I guess they still got them now. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but they had tag teams, right? I remember the Midnight Express and Jim McCormick, right? I think that was their manager, Jim McCormick. They would always cheat to win, like when the ref wasn't looking. And I was a kid. I didn't know that it was fake. And I'm like, man, how y'all don't see them cheating? Why y'all just gonna give it to them? Pride and fear are the most dangerous tag team. I call them the destroyers. Yeah, I call pride and fear the destroyers. So when they show up, if you don't confront them with love and aggressively, they will wreak havoc on your life and your relationships without question. Yeah. You can't just let them sit around and not deal with them. When you live in fear, pride is always nearby, waiting to pounce. But here's the thing. You don't even know that you're operating in pride when you're operating in it until destruction shows up. Why? Because pride will dress itself up to look like righteousness. So you'll think you're going the right way, but you're in pride. You got to be careful, right? Let me give you one more. I'm going to give you one more hindrance to responding to your anger and love. Not being full of love. That's going to affect your ability to give love in difficult times. Not being full of love. Now, most of us show up to adulthood love deficient. Yeah. The thing is, though, you can't rewind life and get the love that you needed. But even if you could, it would not be enough because we were not designed for human love to fill us up in that way. Human love, we're not designed to thrive on human love like that. So whether you had a broken childhood or not, you will not be filled with love if you do not allow God, the eternal being, the endless supply of love, to fill you. And here's how you can tell what you're full of. When the pressure is on, whatever is in you, that's what's coming out of you. Yeah. Whatever is in you is coming out of you in difficult times. I have never met anyone who was full of love and also mean or disrespectful or manipulative. Okay? Whatever is in you, that's what's coming out of you. That's the only thing that's going to come out of you. Nothing else will come out of you other than what's in you. So that is what I had for you tonight. But look, before we get into the questions tonight, I want you to write something down. I want you to write these down because my goal is not just to give you information, but to give you helpful information so that you can use it to change your life. All right. So, and this will be beneficial to you even if you don't believe in Christianity. Right? You know, I don't try to push Christianity on anybody. It's your demise. I'm kidding. That's a terrible joke. I'm sorry. It's a bad joke. It's a joke. I'm kidding. But I don't push Christianity on anybody. But these will help you. It's from the Bible, just so you know. But it's from the wisdom part of the Bible, right? You need wisdom doing life on this planet. And these will help you regardless of what you believe, okay? So I'm going to read it, or I'm going to, say it for you. And then you just write down so you write down this part. You write down Proverbs 17:9. Write that down. I'm going to tell you what it says. It says, love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates close friends. That's good stuff. Love prospers when fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates friends. Write this one down. Proverbs 18:1. Unfriendly people care about themselves. They lash out at common sense. Don't be unfriendly. Okay? That's Proverbs 18:1. Here's the next one. Proverbs 18:13. Spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish. Don't react too soon. As a matter of fact, get out of the habit of reacting and slow down so you can respond. That's a whole different topic. It is. That was Proverbs 8. That's probably 18:13. And then here's the last one. No, this is not the last one. This is Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and haughtiness before a fall. And like I said earlier, the reason that pride goes before destruction is because you don't know you're going the wrong way. Like, you're in pride, but you think you're doing. You know how does it feel? How does it feel, brothers? How does it feel when you are wrong? Now, because we're not face to face and I can't hear you, most of you are probably saying, it feels bad. It feels terrible. I feel sick. You're answering how it feels when you find out that you're wrong. But when you're wrong, before you realize you're wrong, it feels like you're right. Yeah. Pride goes before destruction. Haughtiness before a fall. That's Proverbs 16:18. Here's the last one. Proverbs 16:25. And this is kind of scary, actually. But it means it means that you should just plan a lot better. There is a path before each person that seems right, but it ends in death. Why is that dangerous? Because it seems right, but you don't find out that is wrong until death. Wait a minute. I can't buy a vowel. I can't get a clue before that. All right. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. Sorry about the echo if it's still there, and sorry about the choppiness. Trying to give you guys a little bit of what I, what would have been bad if I did this whole thing and y'all wasn't even on here, like I had accidentally canceled it or cut it off or something. That'd been bad. But anyway, you guys have any questions for me tonight, so that I can either correct something that I said, because I am human in real life, and if I said something that was offensive in my, joking, do tell me. It's never my intent to offend. I know that some things are offensive. I'm talking about my intent, though. So, what do you guys have? Anybody have any questions for me tonight? Any questions? Well, I don't see. I don't see any questions or comments tonight. I know I didn't have as many people registered for tonight like I did the Monday night. It's probably because it's a Friday. I don't know. But for you who are here, give me what you got. If you have anything, you may not have any. I don't know. So I'm going to wait a few minutes to see if you guys have any. Let me share this with you while I'm waiting. This is, I'll share something with you from my own transparency in life. So yesterday, Rick. So yesterday I was talking to Rick. And in the process of that, I asked him a question about discipling my wife. How do I disciple my wife? And he said, well, in your question, I hear an assumption, which is you're thinking that your wife wants you to disciple her. Have you asked? I was like, no, I haven't asked. And so long story short, we talked, and then I was saying how my wife lives in fear, and we was talking about love. And I got a revelation that I need to increase the love for my wife. And that's my role in her life, to love her. It's not my role to change her, fix her, nothing. Just love her. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to increase my love. And then I messed around and told my wife that. I don't know why I did that. Men, be careful about telling your wife stuff. If you're going to do something, just do it. Because trust me, they're going to hold you to it. Now, my wife didn't throw anything in my face. I'm just saying still. So I said, man, I'm going to increase my love. Well, wouldn't you know, I didn't know that the test for that was going to come the next day in the next few hours. So I get up this morning and start preparing for this stuff. But I have a sleep disorder, so I got sleepy really quick. So I'm like, dang, I got to go take a nap. So I go take a nap. And when I get up, I have maybe about an hour before I start seeing clients. And I wanted to get some of my notes down. But my wife, on the days when she works at home, I normally go get her breakfast. But when I was getting up, I thought about that in my head. I was like, man, I ain't better go get breakfast today, so I hope she don't ask. Breakfast is my baby's favorite part of the day, her favorite meal. So, sure enough, I'm getting ready to leave out. She's like, babe, you going to get breakfast? And I got an attitude. I was like, okay, yes, I'm going to go. She's like, no, don't go. I'm like, no, I'm going to go. She said, don't go. Like, she was adamant, not don't go. And I know my wife, when she's like that, yes, she still wants it, but she really means don't go. Like, don't do me no favors. And so I went to the closet, changed my clothes. I said, well, I'm going to get me a smoothie. I knew I was going to get her breakfast anyway, but I got her breakfast. But as I was on my way, I said, I'll really set this part up. As I was on my way, I said, now you just said yesterday you was going to love her more vigorously and more deeply. Here was a clear opportunity just for you to like get some breakfast, and you got an attitude. And I was like, you're right. And actually, I said, I did that before I went. And that's why when I went in the restroom, in the closet change, that's when that was. I thought about it more as I was going. But the thing is this is what I want to share with you. When you make up your mind to do better and be better, don't think that it's going to be automatic. We're humans. Okay. So I made that decision yesterday. I'm going to love her more deeply. And I meant it. But that doesn't mean that the change is automatic. So when whatever, and my need, that's good. So my need was in front of her need. I need to do notes. You need breakfast. And so when she asks, my attitude, no. But you said you was going to love her. So as quick as I could, I fixed that. The point that I'm making, fellas, if you make up your mind to do good, if you make up your mind to be better, but then you falter, just make up for it. Apologize. Hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have responded that way. I apologize. I'm going to do better. All right. Because sometimes we're humans. It does just come out and you're not trying to be that way. But don't just let that sit there. Right. Say something. I need to teach you guys the art of apology. Oh, next week, I didn't tell you, I didn't send out the email yet. So next week we're talking about communication. Okay, remember the debate was should I do anger or communication first? Next week we're doing learning to communicate for the men. And I may throw in there the art of the apology, because communication without conflict resolution is kind of like, you need conflict resolution skills. So I may add that in there next week. But the point that I was making is, just because you make a commitment to be better doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be better. And don't beat yourself up for failing. You fall down, just get back up and keep going. Don't beat yourself up. Oh man, I'm never going to, don't, just fail, get up, do it again. Okay. All right. So I don't see anything. So I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll out. It doesn't look like you guys have any questions for me tonight. So, Aaron, you don't have anything? Nothing. All right. Y'all know I love questions, but I also love my wood shop. So I haven't been in the wood shop all week. It's been a busy week. I'm going to go out there right now. Do I have a project to work? I do have a project. I need to do one of these out in the wood shop and show you guys like some use, because I have a lot of teaching, I guess, examples I can use in my wood shop, because I've written about a lot of them. But you are welcome, Coach Primal. All right. All right, guys. Oh, let me see. Make sure any of these comments are not questions. No, they are not. Okay. I'll wait for you, Aaron. I'll wait for you. One of my sons joined in. I told him to join us today. And I just remembered I did not talk to my daughter. Tell her boyfriend. I'll send it to him. Aaron, this must be a good question. Don't make it too deep. God's not finished with me yet. You're silly. Waiting. Let's see. Some of my difficulties in being, okay, never mind. Here we go. Let's see. Can I bring that on the screen? There we go. I can't stand to my wife's comments because I said something unintentionally and it triggered her and discussion becomes argument. I can't, you saying I can't stand up to my wife's comments? Is that what you're saying? Because I said something unintentionally and it triggered her. And then the discussion turns to an argument. One thing I'll say to people, I tell people, and I know the things that I say, it's not easy to do, right? But an argument can't happen with just one person, right? And so when you see that your wife she's like misunderstood you, or she's not about the business of resolving conflict, then just kind of, okay, babe, it's okay. And come back to it. I tell people all the time, I don't know if this is relevant to you, but if you're married, you signed up for forever. Why you got to fix everything today? Just back up from it. Come back tomorrow and talk about it when things are cooled off. You don't have to fix everything today. But the thing about being in a relationship is that it's two of you. And you can only control you. So if you say something that you say the wrong way or she misinterpret, she's required to do her own work, but that's not your business, right? So all you can do is so that's when you got to increase your patience, increase your love, increase your understanding, right? And that's the thing. When you're married, spend time getting to know your wife. Not like, her name and who her parents were and, who her favorite best friend was as a kid. But all of the idiosyncrasies of her, like, why is she responding that way? What is it about your wife that made her interpret this the way she interpreted it? You may not know that year one, but eventually, if you're paying attention, try to, and you still may not get it, but try to be the kind of person that is an investigator, where you understand your wife. When I say cheese, dang it, I knew I wasn't supposed to say cheese because she interprets that this way. Like, if you can kind of decipher why she responded that way, it will help when you respond in love. But if you don't have that piece where you understand, you still respond in love and saying, one thing you can do is just apologize. An apology is not an admittance. An apology is not saying that I'm wrong. The purpose of the apology is to communicate that you care about your partner's feelings. That's it. Now, sometimes you are apologizing for something you did wrong, but the purpose is to communicate, I care about how you feel. So if she misunderstands, you can apologize and stop, come back to it later when things are cooled down, or you can apologize and keep going if that, cools it down enough. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, babe. That's my bad. And then leave it there. Or, oh, no, yeah, you're right, babe. I'm sorry. I apologize. Why is it so paramount for us to be right? I asked a client today, if your husband said that you said something and you didn't say it, why can't you just sit with that? Why do you have to prove to him that you didn't say it? What good is it going to do? You're going to tear up the marriage just to prove a point? For what? Just let him think that. Come back around when y'all in the bed, pillow talk. Now, babe, earlier when you were saying such, I didn't really say that. And then if you say, yes, you did, then just leave it. It's not going to hurt anything. Let me say it this way. You leave it and you allow God to work it out, because you can't change their mind. So let's see. I thought I saw something else, but maybe that was one of my own notifications. Did I answer your question, Aaron? Did I answer your question, or did I answer it effectively enough for you? And, when your wife is making comments toward you, if that's what you're saying, like she's making negative comments, you guys need to go to therapy, because someone needs to help her not destroy her marriage, because she may think that she's hurting you, but she's hurting us. Like, she's hurting the unit, and she's a part of the unit. So I'm still thinking about doing something like this for the women. But if she's talking to you like that, then your patience has to grow and your love has to grow. Because here's the thing. You will love her into better behavior. You'll never fuss her, criticize her, or condemn her into better behavior. That'll never work. You cannot punish people into better behavior. That's why the prison system doesn't work. Punishment don't help anybody. Discipline does. Punishment is just, I'm going to hurt you because you hurt me. That doesn't work. Let's see. And just so you guys know, I said last week, so I hope this is okay with you, Aaron, but I put the questions up here so that when the replay happens, other people can see it, because they can't see the questions from the live. During all this, I have the tendency to not ask her what she is feeling all along the argument. I made it about me, my hurt feelings, and she feels alone. Absolutely. You're preaching my whole sermon. Yeah. And so that experience for you, you get to see what I've been saying, right? So hopefully what I shared tonight gives you a better explanation of why that happens, so you don't do that, right? It's not easy. When I'm hurting, it's not easy for me to tend to you. But that's what love does. Not in a dysfunctional, self-sacrificing, uh, I'm a die so you can live kind of way. Although sometimes that may be, you know, but just in a healthy, loving, I care about you, I want the best for you, I'm not trying to harm you, I'll take the L kind of way. Yeah, because what you don't want is if she's in a place for you to get in a place, and now both of you are hurting each other. It's kind of like I'll tell you about the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and his wife. They both assassins, and they trying to kill each other in their own house, like they shooting at each other. They tear up their house. You have to live in it, right? Don't tear up your own marriage. I mean, don't tear up anyone else's either, but don't tear up your marriage. It's not worth it. Winning an argument is not worth the pain because you don't win. Dr. Rick Marks says, if you win, if one win and one lose, we both lose because us has to come before me and you. 3 people in a marriage, you, me, and us. Us is the most important part of the marriage. The most important part. Not you, not me, but us. And if your wife comes at you sideways, you're responsible for what you say. So if what you're about to say does not benefit or will not build up us, it only builds up me or makes me feel good, you don't want to do that. And so if you can't say anything, just don't say anything. If you can't say something building, if you can't speak the truth in love, then don't speak. Not in that moment. Call me and I'll walk you through it. Yeah, I actually mean that. It came out. I've never said that before. So something must have prompted me to say it. So there you have it. Now, that don't mean you can call me every time y'all fight. But yeah, if y'all get in a situation like that, I'll walk you through it. Because my goal is to help it in real life. It really is. That's my heart. So anybody else, anything else, right? We're right on 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and end. Aaron, if you have any more questions, or if I did not answer that as effective as you would have liked, email me, and we could talk about it. Anyone else, if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to email me. I have another question. Well, as long as I got a question, I'll stay. How should a wife react at the time when something was said by the husband unintentionally and it triggered or reminded the wife of something from the past childhood times? How should a wife react? That sounds like a loaded question, but I'm going to answer it. How should the wife react when something was said? So first of all, now these are generic answers I'm giving, right? So you have to take what I'm saying and apply the parts that apply. Because unless I know all the details in your specific situation, I can't really give you a quote unquote prescription, but I'll answer the question. So first of all, the wife needs to understand it was unintentional. Scene. I'm in Target. Got my basket. This person over here got a basket. They're looking at clothes coming towards me. I don't see them, but out of my periphery. Bang, they run into my heel. Let's say they're behind me, so they got to hear me. Run into my heel. When they run into my heel, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't even paying attention. My reaction is, it's all good. But my ankle still hurts. But my reaction is, it's all good. Now, same situation. But this time, they look me in the eye and ram me on purpose. And they don't say anything. My reaction is different. Why? Because the first one was not intentional. The second one was. Now, I'm still supposed to respond in love, right? I'm not dismissing that. What I'm saying is, when the husband says something to the wife that's unintentional and she knows that, give him some grace. And then recognize, if it were not for your childhood stuff, what he said wouldn't even hit you that way. So the issue is not really what he said. It's what it means to you. And you are the one in control of what it means to you. So the wife has to work on that internal stuff so that if she wants to respond to the comment that it was unintentional, she can respond just to that and not the childhood stuff. Because trying to respond to this, but through the childhood lens, she's going to be childish. She's going to vomit on him. Yeah. She's just going to spew it all out. And when I say spew it all out, that doesn't mean violence. It can be silence. It could be, it's not going to be a good situation. So the wife needs to record. So what is it? I think Dr. Eckridge, how you say his name, he says that you need to have something called a goodwill spouse. You need to believe that your spouse has a good heart. Like when they hurt you, they're not trying to hurt you. Like it's not intentional. It's not intentional. And when you believe that, then when you're hurt, grace can be more readily available for you to share. But if you don't believe that they have your best interest at heart, like overall, then it's going to be hard for you to let anything go. Y'all need some deep work. You guys need to do an intensive with Dr. Rick. Because when you believe that about your spouse, how do you rest? How does your intimacy happen and or grow? So that's what I got for that. How should a wife react at the time? Yeah, and how she should react at the time is not a matter of how she should react. She's going to react if she hasn't dealt with that childhood stuff. Okay, but she want to get to the place to where she's not reacting but responding. Reaction is like a reflex. It's not something you're thinking about. A response. That's why I said, speaking the truth in love, how do you respond to anger? Not how do you react to anger. You know how to react to anger. You've been doing that all your life. But responding to anger takes some more depth, right? You got to go deeper within yourself. You gotta get more whole. You gotta guys. I'm back on this. You need to be filled with God's love to be effective at being a great lover. And whatever God the supreme being, you need to be filled with his love. He designed you that way. I tell y'all all the time. So this new Mac Mini I got, you know why I had to, this is good. You know why I couldn't use this Mac Mini? Because Apple created a new M1 chip and all of the other softwares and other stuff hadn't caught up with it. So I couldn't even use Photoshop. It was a file I couldn't open. And I'm like, dang, why is that? Because Apple does not design products that work better without Apple stuff. No creator really does that and be successful. That wouldn't make sense. Apple's not going to create stuff that works better with Android stuff in the same way. Neither is God going to create something that's going to operate at its best. It's going to thrive without him. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. So what I'm saying is, Jennings says, when you believe lies about God, you suffer. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the end. I think that's the last lesson when I talk about God and purpose. But I just wanted to share that with you because a lot of this stuff you're trying to do all on your own and you're empty. And there's not another human that can fill you up. I'm telling you because I tried it. It doesn't work. And I tried it for a long time. Some of you don't know, but this is my third marriage. But it's the first time I've actually been a husband. Because I didn't know what I was doing before. Selfish. One, I was a kid. And the other one, I was just selfish. Here, God is growing me. I don't know who that was for. I'm guessing it was for somebody. Anything else? Let's see. Oh, I guess I gotta take this one down before I do that one, huh? Let's see. Understood, but then he asks, why is this pinching your nerve? Asking him to stop poking at it. Yeah. But then he asks, why is this pinching your nerve? After you ask him to stop poking at it. Oh, that's a good. Well, so it's a good question. It's an inappropriate time, probably, because as your life partner, I do want to know why is this bothering you? You know, I wouldn't say it that way. You know, why is this pinching your nerve? You got to be more caring than that. You got to have on the fluffy gloves when you're handling your spouse. Husbands, when you're handling your wife, have on the big fluffy Mickey Mouse gloves, so you don't hurt her. And it's like, you know, you treat her like, hey, what's up? Like, you know, what's going on? I know that hurts you. I didn't mean to, but let's talk about what part, like, what did that trigger for you? Or help me love you better in some kind of way, right? And remember, a lot of times, especially if you're just now learning this stuff, like, you know, speaking the truth in love, responding in love, whatever, initially, you're probably going to have you're going to have, you know, fights, and you're not going to do it right. So make sure you focus on the aftermath, like coming back around and fixing it. You know what? We didn't handle that right. You know what? I did not respond in love. Like, master that part before you get to the place of just automatically responding that way. You know what I'm saying? So, if he says what he says, and now he's jugging at her, when things are calm, y'all sit down and talk. Say, hey, that's not how we need to do this, because that doesn't work for us, right? And you talk about it after the fact. Don't put so much weight on the mishandling of things in the moment. It does hurt. I get that. But if you can talk about it afterwards and understand why he said that, why she felt that way, why he stormed out, why she shut down, you guys can understand each other better, and then you can love each other better. That's my take on it. No particular trauma or anything, just bad memories. Yeah. But if the bad memories, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about bad memories. So when you get cut, the wound is fresh, right? That's when the event happens. As time goes on and it heals, it develops a scab, right? It's not fully healed, but it is protective covering over it. When it's fully healed, it turns into a scar. Scars don't hurt, right? I have a scar on my arm from when I fell off my bike when I was a kid. It was so long ago, but you can still see the scar. And I remember that I fell off my bike, but because there's no pain connected to it anymore, I don't remember the day, the time. I don't know if it was raining. I don't remember the details of the injury. I just remember that it happened. So when these bad memories show up and you kind of go into a frenzy, even if it's not a trauma, that lets you know that's not a scar yet. It's a scab. And there may be some unforgiveness there somewhere. Not with your husband, but back there, whatever happened. There may be some unforgiveness. And then the thing is, if he don't know, if he don't know where the buttons are, how is he going to miss them? Especially if he wasn't trying to hurt you. He was just saying, you know, something, and then you get upset. How is he supposed to know? You have to help your husband. You have to help your wife love you. Yeah. Help them. It's only in Hollywood where, you know what to do. You know all your spouse needs, and you know how to meet them, and they don't have to say nothing. They don't have to ask. They don't have to tell you, oh, I need this, I need that. It's just there. But you know that's not real, right? So in Hollywood, there are movies, and they have scripts that are pre-written, and so they're just acting. Real life is not that way. You have to say, I need this. You have to say, I want that. Don't do that. It's not common sense until you learn it. And if your spouse hadn't learned it, and if your spouse was not raised, like old girl in Coming to America, to love you, then you have to show them how to love you. Okay? All right. All right, I'm going to let you guys make it, and I'm going to get out of here. Thank you again for allowing me to speak into your life for a little while. I hope that something was said that was helpful for you, and that was that you'll be able to take with you and put in your pocket, and pull it out at the right time when you guys are in the middle of conflict, and you show love. Okay. Now, I've never done this before, but let me say this: if you're looking for a therapist and you need a therapist, you're in Texas. It's not just Houston anymore, but thanks to virtual. If you're in Texas, then I am accepting new clients. But also, if you're outside of Texas, I'm accepting new clients for coaching, because I can coach anywhere. It has nothing to do with my license. I can coach wherever. So if you need coaching, and I prefer coaching, if you need coaching for your relationship, or you want to do some therapy, go to my website, abetterfamilynow.com or cliftonbrantley.com. Fill out the contact form, and if you want to do therapy, go to abetterfamilynow.com. If you want to do coaching, go to cliftonbrantley.com, and I will respond, and we will get you set up. You are very welcome. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and if we'll see you Monday. If you join me Monday, we're talking about communication. But for those of you who won't be here Monday, have a mappy. Indeed, bye. Boo. Y'all got a little bit of what my wife gets all the time. My silly be on 1,000. But anyway, hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. And if I don't see you even after that, and a Happy New Year. You are very, very welcome, Aaron. And thank you for being engaged. I think I've seen you on every one of these. And so that tells me that you want to be better. Not that I'm not anybody to recognize that. I'm just saying, I applaud you for investing into yourself so that you can be better for your wife, and if you have children, for your children. Yeah, because they will eat the fruit that you plant as you're going through this process. All right, so you guys have a good evening. I will talk to you on Monday.